No doctor had ever told me this before.
Mia, how did you find carnivore?
Good to be back, Dave. Great to come back and see you again. I think it's been about a year. I would say, in a word, it was YouTube that led me to carnivore. Um, but moreover, I'd say curiosity. I think it was during COVID that I finally started using YouTube a lot. And that was mostly I was using it for exercise because I teach exercise. And I'm living here in Dublin, Ireland for like 13 years. And during COVID, we had really extreme lockdowns. And everybody was told, stay in, let's flatten this curve. And I took it seriously. So I was using it for that. And then maybe I started to look at low carb because I was already, all my years in exercise kind of, I would say more of like a gym bro kind of diet. Like you'd eat, I wouldn't always follow this, but you might eat like skinless chicken breast, steamed vegetables, rice cakes, but not much. You avoided all fat. It was awful. But that was the way years ago when I started out in exercise that you would get lean and you'd lift really heavy weights. And that was how you did it. And then you'd probably binge. Um, so looking at maybe some dietary stuff, keto, maybe it was like Sten Ekberg, Dr. Berg. And then suddenly I didn't understand any of this because I'm always late to the party, that the algorithm is now going to feed me something. And something popped up about Sean Baker. And I was kind of, to be honest, horrified at first that this man, this big, big man, was talking about eating only meat. I was like, oh my God, the internet is such a strange place. I kind of chalked it up to that. But then I started listening to like your channel, I guess all the doctors that everybody on your channel names, Chafee and Kiltz and Kelly Hogan and Dr. Barry and Hampton and on and on. I can't even think of all the names right now, but I follow everybody now. But your channel quickly became one of my favorites because you were doing it differently. You were getting the personal stories of people's experiences, and that really appealed to me, Dave, because I think we talked about this last time, I've been sober in AA for 23 years now. And that's how that always kept me off the drink and off drugs and eventually off cigarettes. It always felt so interesting to hear. And I was always so curious to hear people's personal stories. So that's why your channel really appealed and why I, you know, scraped up the courage to reach out to you over a year ago. And I had already been trying to get carnivore for about a year before I even contacted you. Um, so I'm still not 100% there, but you know what? Life's a journey. So I've never actually done like the 30-day challenge of carnivore or 90 days of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. But I listen to the doctors and yourself and your guests' stories, which I love, like all day, daily, because I don't have a television. So I'm more interested in learning, since I gave up on like soap operas and Netflix. So that kind of brings us to where I am now. So what's changed since I saw you a year ago is I've added in, with my curiosity, I'm so grateful for it, more other things like I get outside first thing in the morning, depending on when the sun rises, right? And they suggest you do that like within the first hour of sunrise to get that infrared on your skin and in your eyes. I don't wear any glasses when I go out there, and I go barefoot, and I try not to wear a lot of clothes, even if it's cold. Like today in Dublin, it's quite cold. There's ice on the windscreens of the cars. But try to just step out there and get the cold exposure, get some of that infrared, get some of that early morning sunlight, get your bare feet on the ground. I've been doing that. It's subtle. I'm not going to say it's hit me over the head and cured me of anything, but I believe in these kind of things now. What else? I've started working more on my nervous system. So last time I spoke to you, I talked a lot about my late husband and how that was what kind of brought me to Ireland and probably got me more interested in my own health, considering what had happened to him. Remember, he had had a brain tumor, and he was, like most of us, addicted to sugar. And I just wished, I really wished that I had known then, that really sticking and trying and using a ketogenic diet in a kind of almost medicinal way. Uh, you never know, it might have prolonged his life. It kept Pablo Kelly alive. He had the same or very similar cancer as my husband for 10 years or something. And there's another chap, his name is, I think, Andrew Scarborough, and he's still alive with, and most people die in months. Maybe they get a year or two with that kind of brain cancer, GBM, it's called. So, so after John died, I decided to stay in Ireland. And after I spoke to you, I didn't have time to tell you that after John died, I had gotten involved in another relationship, which was great. It was wonderful. I had a really good experience. But after I spoke to you, it ended. And this has allowed me to start working on my own nervous system more. So I guess my point here is um, there's more to it to me now than just what I eat or what I don't eat.
So, regarding that, I know you said you're not 100% carnivore at this point. You're still trying, but the fact that you've been following this path for so long, and the fact that you're also incorporating other things which are not kind of, I don't know, mainstream, like getting the sunlight and not wearing the sunglasses, that kind of thing. I mean, you must be seeing some positive benefits from this.
Yes, definitely. So I keep adhering to a pretty much ketogenic diet. I mean, I'm not doing blood sticks and sticking my fingers, and I've tried the CGM thing a couple times. I do get labs done. All that stuff is definitely good, and I'm continuing to age. I'm going to be 61 this Sunday, Easter Sunday. Um, I feel great. So it's only gotten better in that sense. Um, I might have still been having a few vegetables the last time you and I spoke, but it's very funny actually. I had like a box of organic mushrooms in the fridge. It's got to be about a year ago, and they just rotted. And I was like, that's it. I'm just not going to waste my money on this stuff. I'm too lazy to cook it now. I'm so grateful. I enjoy meat so much. So I just keep trying to get closer and closer to that. And 2 nights ago, I did an experiment, curiosity, and I had some really nice tomato sauce. I cooked up a big pot, a big skillet of mince. And I said, okay, I'm going to have some of this mince and I'm just going to warm up a little bit of this tomato sauce, like a marinara, we would call it. And I'll just put a bit of it, mix it in with my mince. It tasted gorgeous, but I paid the price. Immediately, I started to feel the acid of the tomato coming up. Yeah. Now, it wasn't a big price to pay, but I was like, no, it's just not working. It's too bad, because sometimes you miss things that taste very Italian or whatever, ethnic. So the more I stick to just meat, particularly ruminant meat, butter. I've been cooking in tallow, which I get from the same butcher where I get my meat. Um, I eat a lot of eggs. Maybe I'm eating too many eggs, but I love them. They do not disagree with me. I do a lot of sparkling mineral water. I do use a bit of lime. I do use apple cider vinegar. What else? I still use a bit of stevia. So, like I said, and I would have been using it last time I spoke to you, still a journey for me, still trying because I'm still getting that sweet taste in my mouth. And, I listen in very closely when people talk about that because it is a bit of a, people call it food noise. It does create a bit of that noise, I think. So I guess my message is I have not done this perfectly at all. And I am okay with that now. Whereas maybe before I spoke to you last time, I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do it, you know? But I think I mentioned to you that I never let go of anything without leaving some claw marks in it. So it's very slow for me. I'm a slow learner. I will admit out loud that I am an addict, a recovering addict alcoholic. So there's part of my brain, Dave, that just goes, but you've overcome so much. Like, what's a few squares of dark chocolate? Really? Come on. Like, what the hell you used to be in with drink and all that, you know, come on, you're doing great. So I kind of rationalize it.
Yeah, there's always that little bit of your mind that'll like if you kind of let that thought slip in about, oh, a bit of dark chocolate would be all right, then there's a little bit of your mind will take over and try and tell you, yeah, you've done really well recently. You had a hard day at work. Come on, treat yourself. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure. And I can white knuckle things. Like I can control, but, but that takes up a little too much space in your brain. And I don't know. I just would like one day to be able to say, wow, I haven't had sugar for a month, or I haven't had sweet taste on my tongue for a month, and just see how that feels, to have that kind of
Yeah,
freedom.
yeah. So, I mean, I think the important thing, which you basically um, you basically just said, is that like you're not kind of sticking to carnivore or lion or something like that 100%. But every step you take where it's like you realize, oh, if I have the tomato sauce, that's what's going to happen to me. Or if I'll just give this up and I give that up. Every little step is just that little bit closer to, I feel better.
Well, thank you for the
And
encouragement. I need it.
that that's the important I think that's the important thing, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone's got to do it at their own pace and they've got to get there somehow, right? I'm the kind of person that I know for me, it's either all or nothing, always. I can't just like do things slowly or whatever. It just doesn't work for my personality. So I have to rip the band-aid off and do it 100% all the time. Or I'm back to where I was before. But, if you're not like that, then, just getting better each time. It's like, what is it, the Japanese word, kaizen?
What does it mean?
Just like, small improvements over time. It's not like everything doesn't have to be perfect now. It's just like, you build on it and it gets better and better and better.
That's it. That's brilliant. That's exactly it. I want to keep this open mindedness, this curiosity. Just keep trying. There's no hurry. I'm so lucky, Dave. Like, I listen to your guests. I love your channel because I'm listening to it day and night lately. And when you hear the bravery of people, the stuff they're going through, the stuff they've overcome, the stuff they're still dealing with, like, wow, wow. So, what has always stood to me is that I've always been pretty optimistic. I'm gullible, I'm naive, I'm hopeful. And I think that goes a long way. Like I was talking about things outside of just what you eat. What's your mindset? You know, where's your gratitude? Stuff like that. I'm so grateful. Yeah, there's just more to it than just what I eat. There's more to it. Definitely is.
Yeah, I think it's like, I was reading some comments from on a carnivore group today, and someone was talking about blood pressure. And it's like someone's still got a blood pressure issue. It might not be just about the food, like you're talking about sunlight. It's also like get out in the sun. The sun can be good for your blood pressure, like getting in the sun that can help. I guess it's help get nitric oxide into your blood vessels, right? So it's that kind of holistic approach to things that's really important.
Yes, you're reminding me of some of the other things I've started doing. You can literally find anything, as you know, on YouTube. So, vagal nerve. So, working on your vagus nerve tone, because it's this nerve that apparently travels from the top down through all of your organs. Like it's the longest. It's called the wanderer. Vagus means wanderer. So, if you do things like gargling, humming, singing, breath work, simple things like box breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Um, Vibration, like you know how everybody's bought these vibration plates that works on it. So there's just all these other, I want to say they're hacks, but really it's more like going back to things that people used to just do before we all started just staring at screens. Like you said, getting out in the sun.
Yeah, I think that's been really detrimental, and it's just because it's crept up over a few decades. It's like we haven't really paid attention to the change that's been happening. But yeah, sitting 100% of the time in front of a blue screen is not a good idea.
Exactly. So when COVID hit, I was still so naive. I work in healthcare. Part of my, like, so I have different jobs I do, different hats I wear, but they're all related to health and wellness. And I was one of the first people to get jabbed here in Ireland because I worked in healthcare. And I was so naive, Dave. I didn't know. I was like, oh, yeah, it's a vaccine. You know, what's the big deal? I'll do it because I work with the most vulnerable people. I work in nursing homes. So I did 2 shots, and thank God I haven't had any injury from it because now all of that's coming out. That's a whole other discussion, isn't it? Um, yeah. So then I got kind of red pilled during COVID because I got isolated. I was staying inside. I started watching YouTube, and it's like I took the red pill. Suddenly, the scales fell from my eyes. I was like, what? They lied about this. They lied about that. Like, I never, like I said, late to the party, I had never heard of Nina Teichholz. I didn't understand that they had, you know, made this food pyramid based on corporate sponsorship and the sugar industry burying all this research and that this 7 country stuff. Like I honestly, I know I'm embarrassed, but I didn't know all this stuff until during COVID. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not alone, and I think that happened for a lot of people during COVID. It was really like, hang on, something's not right here. And yeah, when you start actually, it's like when you always look up to doctors and you kind of think, well, I'm going to trust everything they say. Well, you want me to take that pill? Yeah, no problem, no problem at all. I'll fill the prescription every month. Yeah, no worries. And then when you kind of sit back and you realize what's going on, and you think, these guys are not really thinking as deeply about my health as I once thought they were.
Yes, Sean Baker always says nobody's coming to save you. And you have to be your own doctor, and you've got to, or some doctors say test, don't guess. So I started, you know, taking these different ideas and going, okay, I was in living in America all my life, and the reason we came to Ireland is we were medically bankrupted when my late husband John was diagnosed with cancer because we couldn't afford insurance. But living in America all my life, you would never go to a doctor that, unless you had to. You would never go near a hospital if you didn't have insurance. So there was a sense of skepticism around doctors, but mostly because of what it would cost me. Now, so I also do private work as a private healthcare worker, right? So I am taking care of or trying to help. I'm not a nurse. Um, with their daily needs, these people who are like at the end there. They're kind of in a lot of ways too far gone for me to talk to them about carnivore, and they'd look at me like I have 3 heads. I'm not allowed to prescribe anything to these people. But wow, it's just I'm at the coal face, as it were, with really sick people. And men, like, they're not all of them are senior. Not all of them are in their 80s. Some of them might be in their 70s or 60s, but they're already really, really, really sick. So they're on what we call polypharmacy. One of the clients with this agency takes like 27 medications in a day. We have to use hoists to lift them. They can't see, they can't hear. You know, not to mention most of them are severely diabetic. They just have so many conditions. So it's a constant reminder of why. Like I've got that why in my face between the nursing homes and the private healthcare every day. But my real why, I think you remember the first time I spoke to you, was migraines. All my life, migraines. I believe it started when I was teenage and I started taking contraception. I think that's how it started. But I drank, remember? So, and I was a daily drinker, and I would drink anything. So I had a lot of hangovers. So I didn't realize I had migraines. I thought it was hangovers. And then I got sober around the age of 38, 39. Yeah, 38, 39, 40. And now I'm starting to move into what we women call perimenopause. So your hormones are flipping around again. And oh my God, the migraines, the headaches were insane. I was like, what is this? So I figured out what it was. And I still don't know exactly because there's so many triggers and there's so many symptoms. So I still haven't gotten to the bottom. And we always do want to get to the bottom of something. We want to know the one reason. But I have to say, Dave, the more I stay on this path and keep the carbs, sugar, stress, exhaustion, worry, keep all those things really low, more sunshine, more singing, more humming, more positivity, more more protein, more fat. I've pretty much licked it. If it starts to come on, I can take a little bit of medication, um, and I nip it in the bud. Whereas I'm not. I was getting these 3 and 4 day migraines. Even when I spoke to you, because that was one of the main things that really attracted me to carnivore doctors. I got in touch with Dr. Elizabeth Bright, and I worked with her one to one for a while. And she was the one, no doctor had ever told me this before. You're hypothyroid, because I don't even look like somebody who's hypothyroid. But because we did all the testing and she really went in deep. And so I take like natural thyroid desiccated. It's desiccated pig's thyroid, really. So it's not a synthetic uh, drug. It's more of a whole thyroid gland from an animal that's very compatible to our thyroid. So I use that. I'm able to get it online. I get it from, I think, the Netherlands or something. And so between that and watching my stress, exhaustion, not overworking, I'm somebody who would say yes to everything in terms of helping others. Learning to say no, going outside into the sunshine, taking great big long walks. Like I said, I got out of this relationship that really wasn't, it was wonderful, but I was kind of doing more than, there wasn't a lot of compromise. I was doing too much in that relationship. And my nervous system is really settling down. And one of the things I really love about being so low carb is the dreams. Like I look forward to going to sleep at night because I just have the wildest, most cool, wonderful dreams. My sleep is so much better. So it's all good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I still, I'm still not much of a dreamer, but yeah, I'm out like a log most nights. So that is the better thing
Thanks.
about being eating this way. So what is your daily menu look like now?
So I'm still, for the most part, doing 2 meals a day. Oh, and I'm trying to incorporate a bit of fasting. I mean, I do intermittent fasting, but I like the idea of doing like 24 to 36 hours once in a while, maybe once a month. Um, I follow this particular channel that I found on your channel because there was one of your guests was sharing about it. It's called Pottinger's Human, and this chap talks about fasting a lot. And that he said, for instance, he said if you did 72 hours of fasting, which I haven't done yet, once a year, it would just incredibly, next level your health. So what do I eat? I try not to eat. I shouldn't say I try not to eat. I tend not to eat in the morning because I love to exercise in the morning and I love to exercise fasted. So I might have a cup of decaf. I haven't had anything this morning except some water with iodine in it, which was what Elizabeth Bright turned me on to the iodine thing, the Lugol's thing, which is great for the thyroid, the breast tissue. The water here in Ireland is fluoridated, so I filter it, but I'm probably not getting it all out. And the fluoride competes with the iodine in your body, so I take extra iodine. So I might have a decaf with some heavy cream, like double cream in it, which I love, and some drops of stevia, which I would love to give up. But something tells me, I think I told you this before, I would probably give up coffee if it didn't taste sweet. I don't think I really like coffee. So it's just decaf. Then I'll probably do some exercise, go do some work, or walk with the dog. We have a dog, we have a cat. I love that. I think being around animals is really good too. And then I'll eat and say, but I'm not starving. All your guests say it, you say it yourself. I'm not like, they have an expression here in Ireland that goes like this. My stomach thinks my throat's been cut. So that's what people say when they're starving. Oh, I'm so hungry. My stomach thinks my throat's. I don't have that. I know a lot of people in our realm don't have that. I know I could go a whole day and the next day. But if I eat, I think it's a good idea to keep the protein up, right? I'm turning 61. Try to get like a gram of protein per pound of body weight every day when I'm eating. But I can't seem to do it in one meal. It's just too much for me. So I tend to eat twice a day. So I'll have eggs. Could be 2 eggs, could be 3 eggs, could be 4 eggs. I'll have mince. I get the most amazing meat from a farmer up in Donegal. So I'm in Dublin. So that's a few hours north of here. And they deliver. I found them probably on social media. And they have Dexter cattle, which are native Irish cattle. They're grass fed and grass finished. So that's a real nice treat. I don't always eat their meat, but I try to. So I get mince from them. I get diced beef. I get steaks. But the steaks, are more of a treat. So I'll eat mince. I'll eat eggs. I'll eat steak. I'll eat if I go into the supermarkets here, I look for stuff on sale. So I might get a big roast and I'll crock pot, or pressure cook because I have an instant pot. So you can either slow cook it or pressure cook it, and it's always amazing, amazing. So mostly I'm eating beef. I love lamb, but it's getting very pricey. Like it just keeps going up and up and up. I don't know why. Uh, and the lamb and the beef here are amazing, and the butter here is amazing, and the cream here is amazing, and everything here is grass fed. I mean, when you go outside of Dublin, you see nothing but cows and sheep. They're just grazing everywhere. So why wouldn't I eat that? And so I might eat the exact same thing for my second meal. I try to eat between, say, 11 or 12 noon, and I try to stop eating by, say, 6.
Like going forward, your goal is to incorporate more of these kind of healthy things like sunlight and all that kind of thing into your routine.
Yes. For instance, according to circadian rhythm, I'm so far north. All right, I was in New York. That was what, like the 51st parallel. Now I'm up at like the 59th. I hate the cold. Another thing that might have told I was hypothyroid is I always had freezing cold hands and freezing cold feet. Um, so what I'm supposed to do, let me cut to the chase, living up here, according to the circadian people, is I'm supposed to embrace the cold. I'm supposed to go out in the cold in a t-shirt, like expose my collarbones, because that's where you would make the brown fat, take cold showers, jump in the sea. There's a lot of people since COVID started jumping in the sea every day, and I am like, 20-minute walk from the sea. I never get in, so that's something I probably should start embracing because according to circadian biology, quantum biology, you don't necessarily have to go into the sun to get melanin. You can make your own. And one of the ways you can make it inside of your mitochondria is cold exposure. Other things like infrared. I have a infrared sauna blanket that I use. I have one of these like wands that's infrared and near, like it's red and infrared, and you can shine it, like I'll shine it on my thyroid. You can shine it on anything that hurts if your joints hurt. So yeah, I just want to keep learning and keep going. um, I'm very happy with, I'm so grateful and so happy with my health. Like, I love sleeping, I love being in bed, but as soon as I step out of bed, Dave, I'm like, okay, like there's no kind of sense of hangover or heaviness or brain fog or real serious pain anywhere. Even if I work out hard, I recover so fast. Um, Positive, no depression. It's incredible. I feel so grateful for this. It's easy to.
That's awesome. Has anyone around you showed any interest in what you're doing?
No, I do talk to my sister a lot. That's another thing that's happened in the last year since I spoke to you. I've reached out much more to reconnect with my family of origin. I've got a sister and a brother and a nephew, right? My mother and father are both gone in the last year and a half or so. No, but they were of an age. So my mother was like, say, 86, my father was 89, but they both suffered. My mother, I think I told you, had severe, probably vascular dementia for, oh my God, over 10 years. She really suffered. So it was a blessing when she went. So I'm aware of that, how this, way of eating, way of life can combat the possibilities of dementia. Um, Plus working with people who have such severe dementia. My father suffered horribly with, I think it was something like psoriatic arthritis. He had terrible, terrible pain, awful pain, debilitating pain in his back. And he was a very unhappy person all his life. Very, very miserable, very stressed. So I thought, okay, I should keep in touch more. And this, I don't know how to just explain why, but just this way of life is just it's just helping me bring myself back to what matters most. It's not just like, because like any young woman, when I was younger, I was obsessed with counting calories. I grew up in that time. I was born in the 60s, so I grew up in that time of um, avoid all fat, you know. I was obsessed with how I looked. I was bulimic. I don't know if I ever told you that. I was bulimic from the age of, say, 16 into my 30s. That was another huge addiction for me. I thought it was about control. Who knows? Maybe it was more about anger. So, all these things, just trying to get, rather than taking things on, letting things go is what I'm aiming for now. Letting things go. And what matters most at the baseline. So staying in touch very much with my brother who's in North Carolina, my sister who's in Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Manhattan originally. and my nephew who just wanders around the world because he's a digital nomad. So my sister has a lot of health problems, is the way to answer your question in a very roundabout way. So I'm always like, I was on the phone with her last night and she was complaining about some symptom she had on her body. And I was like, you might want to get that looked at. She does have health insurance. And it sounded like a boil. And I would only know about boils from listening to, like, you had that chap on your channel called Eben. He talked about boils. Kelly Hogan talked about the boils. So I said, look, I'm not going to diagnose you, but if you just keep dropping the carbs, if you just keep dialing that down, it could help. So I've been kind of banging on about it to her for a long time. And her boyfriend had a stroke about a year ago. And thank God he's okay. And that was when she started to take it a little more seriously, cutting out all the processed food, the grains, the sugars. But you know how it goes. If you don't have a really strong reason, so I haven't tried to preach to anybody. I wanted to, but I can just tell the way they kind of almost, their body language recoil.
It's like you've just handed them an insect or something, It's like, "Ah, get away from me." Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So Mia, appreciate you coming back on and letting us know how things are going, and very happy birthday for upcoming Sunday. Is there any way people can reach out to you? Do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
yes, I'm on Instagram, but I wouldn't say I put a lot of carnivore material or keto out there. It's more kind of just out and about. It's move, rest, repeat on Instagram. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to my birthday too. I think I'll have some lamb. After all, it's Easter
Nice.
Sunday.
Oh, nice. Well, I'll link to your Instagram in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on again. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I love what you're doing, Dave. You're just amazing. Keep it up. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thanks.